I was already a bit concerned by the threats that have been coming from south of the border about annexing Canada and speaking of Canada as the 51st state and so on. And that was already rather grating and giving me pause, thinking about whether it made sense to actually travel to the U.S. But now that we've been seeing reports about the arbitrary detentions of people who've been incarcerated in the ICE detention program of people who they seize without any explanation. They end up kind of lost in a prison system that is private and for profit. So these are private prisons that make money basically by disappearing people, because the longer they can keep you in there, the more money they're making off of the government, which is why they lobby for these very harsh immigration rules. So they're a huge financial force in the U.S. right now, and it just doesn't make any sense to end up for arbitrary reasons, kind of caught in this no person's land. So that doesn't, it's so I think what we're seeing is a kind of breakdown of the rule of law. And political scientists, a lot of my colleagues are seeing the signs of a kind of breakdown into a form of authoritarian competitivism. So a kind of departure from democratic norms, which makes people unsafe if they travel, particularly when you're not a US citizen. Then it just doesn't make any sense to take these risks to go south of the border. Why would we do this? Here we are, and we can do research in other ways. It's not that I was particularly worried, in the sense that the chances of something happening are rather small for any particular individual. But already when you're traveling, you don't want the added stress of a possibility of something that is arbitrary happening to you. So we've already seen reports. There was the Canadian citizen who was kind of got lost in these detention centers for a couple of weeks. But there have been a lot of other reports as well. Recently, there was a German citizen who actually had a U.S. green card, who was ended up, and there's no explanation so far. We don't know why this person was being held for the few weeks. They've now returned back to Germany. So you can say, "Oh, we've done nothing wrong," but without knowing what these people are being held for, it's hard actually to tell, because there's no transparency about it. So it looks like there is a kind of policy of just sort of shaking people down. These are wonderful occasions to be able to exchange with colleagues and get feedback on the work that you're doing, and to exchange ideas and to advance a research agenda. So yes, there's a important cost that as academics we're paying, and I'm certainly not the only one. I know many other colleagues who have been canceling their plans going south of the border, because at this point, it's the sort of the worries and the costs of going there seem to outweigh the benefits that we would have from doing it.